don't want to be strong like man who look pretty. I want to be strong like bitch that fight bears in the forest.
Welcome to another episode of Bitch vs. Bear with your hosts, me, Amber, and my bestie, Sydney.
Woohoo!
We are co-owners of Shield Maiden Training Co., and this is a show where we bitch, laugh, and chat about all things fitness and wellness related to women, and the LGBTQIA plus community. Okay, so this week we are exploring the benefits pets can have for your fitness. We're saying pets, but mostly we're going to be talking about dogs.
Yeah.
We are uniquely aware of the positive impacts pets can have on fitness routines and overall well-being, having both grown up with dogs, cats, fish, hamsters.
My dad had a pet bird. Actually, we had two birds.
Nice.
Yeah. We had Bart, and he was like a cockatiel. He was really cool. And then my parents adopted an African gray parrot.
Nice.
And the pet store owner who we knew, like my dad was good friends with him because that's where he got his like fish for his really cool fish tanks. Was like, oh yeah, this African gray, like its owners passed away because like parrots live like an absurd amount of time.
Yeah.
And we are like, oh, okay, like he's very well trained, blah blah blah. Man, that bird was mean. He would chase my dad around and he would trap him in the bathroom after a shower and not let him out of the bathroom.
Oh no.
He was crazy. And our like neighbor and like good friend came over and she was like complaining about something and he called her a bitch.
Nice.
This parrot, and she turned around and said, "What did you say to me?" So the parrot, who was hysterical, especially for like a 10-year-old who's like this grown
Great.
woman is yelling at this parrot like it's a child.
I love it. Story time.
I just shared one. I think you should share one, and then I'll share another one because I got a lot of pet stories. We had a lot of pets growing up. Did you have? I feel like you also had maybe not that many. I love your pet stories though.
My pet stories? I don't have that many pet stories. I mean, I have Gracie stories.
Didn't you have a dog that was really like part wolf? Who kept like breaking out of your house and like yard to go like do wolf things?
Okay, yes, we did have that. So our first dog, at least as far as I remember, was Luke. He came from a breeder.
Lies.
With such lies. Who was supposed to be breeding German Shepherds. We discovered at the end of his life that he was not a purebred German Shepherd. He was in fact half wolf. I just collect the partially feral animals.
Yeah, because isn't Gracie like part coyote or something? Yes. Which, by the way, we should post like a snippet of Gracie like on our Instagram so people can see what she actually looks like. For those of you who don't know what Gracie looks like, because I think what you probably are imagining is something that is far, far, far from what Gracie actually is.
She's part coyote.
She is.
Until she's scared and then her chihuahua comes out.
Yeah. I want everyone to image just the mental image of coyote chihuahua.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did have this shepherd wolf when I was a kid. He was a great dog when he was home. Very protective of me and my younger brother and just a lot of fun to play with, and he was great. He did used to vacate the yard.
Jailbreak.
Despite chains and cables of varying thicknesses and strengths and an electric fence. Jeez. I remember we would find partially dismantled deer carcasses in like the woods around the house. He got picked up with no, that wasn't him. I think that was our lab. Our lab would broke loose a couple of times and went carousing with the neighbor's dog.
Oh, scandalous.
I mean, maybe They were both boys, but
Oh,
they went gallivanting.
I mean, this
Without
is a
the
show
ones.
for the LGBTQ.
It is. Luke did get picked up too. I think he was solo. He's a lone wolf.
He was a lone wolf. He's just out there doing whatever he wants.
Exactly.
I love that. I love Luke. I didn't even know him. Like, he sounds like a fun dog.
He was a fun dog, and he was so cute when he was a puppy.
Oh, I bet.
He was. We should have known. His fur was much lighter than normal shepherds,
Mm.
and he was stocky. Like he wasn't like thin and like streamlined like German shepherds usually are. Oh no, no, oh, no! He was a beefy boy. Big boy. He was. He's a big boy.
That's that's so great. My story is about which she wasn't you know at that age it's family dogs, right? Like they're your parents' dogs, really. And so like I Samantha was her name, was my dad's dog. She was around before I was, essentially. Um, and this dog, oh my god, she she was I wouldn't say a menace, but she was very strong-willed. She was all white. She was a Samoyed collie mix.
Mm.
So she had like a longer snout, but she was too smart for her own good. So like kind of picture like a husky temperament with the brains of a collie. And she would literally like she would escape my dad and go running until he got in the truck, could leave for work, and she wouldn't come back until she would chase him down the road. And then he'd come back, park, and try and get her, and she'd run away. And then he'd leave, she'd chase him down the road. And so he'd have to stop on the road and get her into the truck. And then she's like, now you have to take me to work.
I mean, obviously.
But she was like my instant adventure buddy. Like she was the worst kind of influence because I'm like, well, Sam's playing in a mud puddle. I'm playing in a mud puddle. I distinctly remember my mom losing her mind when Sam came in covered head to toe in mud to the brand new carpeted house, like brand new house, like we had just moved in. And Sam was like, and then just shakes in the middle of the room. Yeah. I mean, like, if she was the instigator to all of my madness.
That makes sense.
We got chased by mute swans once. We were at the park. I think I was like 7, and it was right down the road from my grandparents' house. And we had been like, I don't know, being kids.
Obviously.
Me and Sammer, and we got chased by mute swans. And to this day, I still don't like swans or like large birds like geese. 'Cause I'm like, they're mean. We would jump into like the river basin, and she was just like the first iteration of like the adventure dog. Like where she was going, I was going, and where I was going, she was going.
Right.
I did remember distinctly that she ate my ice cream one time.
Well, that's rude.
I was holding like my ice cream cone, like turned to say something to my dad, and she just like took it and ate the whole thing. And I just screamed until they got me more ice cream. I was so mad at her.
I mean, I would be too.
Yeah.
They ate my ice cream.
Right. She gave 0 fucks. Like 0.
Nice. Oh, people pleasing dog, huh?
Oh, yeah. She was just walking around with the middle finger up her entire life. Was so loyal, like so loyal, but she was just like, I care not what you think of me, humans.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, okay. So clearly we love animals and dogs. And I would say that one of the most valuable things that like our pets provide us is the structure and the routine of owning a pet. Like you have to establish a daily routine around them.
Yeah.
And for a lot of them, it includes regular exercise,
Right.
and then feeding and taking care of them. So the structure really helps to encourage like consistency in your own daily life. And we talk a lot about like routine and consistency, and they're
Love
a
it.
huge provider of it. So it makes it really easy to start to incorporate fitness into your routine if you have a pet, or if you're thinking about getting a dog, because you're like, oh, I have to structure things around them anyway.
Yeah.
One of those things is going to be probably going for a walk, I would hope.
I mean, depending on the pet that you have.
Yeah, I mean, again, maybe a guinea pig on the harness. Though
You stick your turtle.
we were walking Benny yesterday, and there was a mother-daughter out in the driveway. And I turned and I looked and I was like, "Is that a guinea pig?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, like we're taking him out for his like daily enrichment, essentially." And I was like,
Oh my god, I love it.
"I love it. Like you're spending time outside. There's no, yeah,
Yeah.
take your turtle outside. Be careful. Make sure he doesn't
care.
try and cross the road."
I mean, my cousin's wife had a rabbit that she would take out on a harness. I just had another thought too.
God, we'll domesticate anything.
Right? We will.
Did you hear? Okay, recent study about cats. Fantastic.
Yes.
Love cats. Too bad I'm allergic to them. That when we started domesticating wolves, the traits that became like they were selected for cuteness and loyalty and like things like that. So the wolves started to adopt those characteristics because it meant food and shelter and things. And so we domesticated them. Cats, however, domesticated themselves.
Yep. That tracks.
And did you know that cats meow for us?
Yes.
I'm like, this is fascinating to me. I'm like, I love the fact that cats were like, huh, we can train these people. We got this.
Those damn wolves got it easy.
Yeah. They're just like, we didn't care about the cats. The cats were like, no, you're going to like us. Just wait and see.
I mean, that's probably why, what was it? The ancient Egyptians worshipped them? Because they came in and were like, serve us humans.
Yeah. I think it's amazing.
I love it. I love cats. They're so silly.
Okay. So you got Gracie like 5 or 6 years ago?
2018.
2018.
So yeah, 5.5 years ago.
That's
Yeah,
good.
Good job.
So how has Gracie impacted your kind of like routine and what changed? What, did you find yourself getting more fit, less fit? What happened with Gracie? Tell us Gracie's life story.
Well, she was born in Puerto Rico.
And survived a hurricane.
We think she survived the hurricane and lost her home and potentially a family in the hurricane. It was very tragic.
Alexander Hamilton.
She's still traumatized by rain, so we don't really do much when it's raining and storming out.
I do love that Gracie has a ducky raincoat.
She does. It helps. So I guess I don't know that a ton changed when I got Gracie because she just kind of incorporated into my life and just did all the things with me that I was already doing a lot of because my friends had dogs.
Mm.
So like we were already going to the dog park or going places that were dog friendly so that Marvin and Riley could join us. But I think she does add structure because she's awake at a certain time. And so I have to get up at a certain time.
I love that Gracie's like, excuse me, I have my morning routine. I need you to wake up.
She typically wakes up anytime between 5:30 and 6. And I can usually throw a blanket over her and get her to go back to sleep until like 6:30. But then like we're up between 6:30 and 7 every day. Because like she needs to get up, she needs to go out, she needs to put her breakfast. And hear her tiny belly rumbling for breakfast. So there's that. Like it gets me up. I go outside first thing in the morning and do a quick walk for her to potty. I'm getting outside and walking and climbing up and down my 3 flights of stairs several times a day to take her out to walk.
Which you did in Maine too. Like,
right,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
in
not...
Maine, we were also, getting outside, whether we were at the office or at home. I try to take her out. She probably doesn't need to go out that often, but if I'm like sitting and working, she's just laying there because I'm not playing with her. So, we get out and walk every 3 to 5 hours during the day.
Man, Gracie.
Yeah. She goes out often. I mean, she doesn't need to. She can hold it if she needs to, but I think it's good for me too, especially on work days when I'm sitting at the computer all day and wouldn't move for several hours.
Yeah, I think that's like one of
Um,
those benefits that, we don't talk about enough. Is like,
Yeah.
Especially with the work from home crowd.
Yeah. It gets me up and out into the fresh air and moving every, few hours. And we usually try to do a longer walk once a day as well, which is nice.
What's your like normal longer walk? Is it like timed or distance?
Um, we have a loop that we do it's not that long. It's only about a mile, but
So
yeah.
like a 20 to 30
Yeah.
minute walk, depending on whether or not Gracie finds parking lot chicken.
Right. Yes. That does slow us down. Um, yeah. So we do that longer walk and then we do a bunch of smaller walks just around the complex. Sometimes we go out and she plays with her ball and gets some off leash time.
Man, Gracie, you got the life.
She does. She really does. She's very spoiled.
Very spoiled. Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at Gracie. I got distracted. She's looking very cute. Yeah, when our routines were they've we've grown as adults.
Really?
Yeah, when we got Riley, we were in college.
Mm.
Good life choices. That dog was perfect in spite of us.
She was a good dog.
She was a very good dog. She was the greatest dog. But yeah, she like we'd walk, and again, she would do everything with us. So she
Mhm.
was, always with us. But we're spending a lot of time outside. She would go on all of our hikes. Like not
Mhm.
that long ago, thinking back, we didn't actually know how old Riley was. It's
Right.
like she was also adopted from Puerto Rico through a rescue, actually same place you got Gracie.
Mhm.
And so it was one of those things like they had like an estimate.
Yeah.
But not that long ago, she did like a 10 or 12-mile hike on the Cutler Coast in Maine, like
Wow.
5 miles one day in and then like 5 miles back out. And so like she definitely kept us moving, and like we're like, oh well, if she can do it, we can do it,
Right.
Her little feet to going. So yeah, it was funny how I think when we moved into places that had yards, we became a little lazier because
Fair enough.
it's like the Chuck E. Cheese method with like children. You're like, that they're safe and enclosed, and so they can just go,
Right.
and then you can just sit there and like not do as much. So we've kind of gotten out of the habit of just doing that now because we realized that was a problem. We're like,
Right.
they need to move. Riley, Benny especially.
Yeah.
Benny being part husky, he requires at least 3 walks a day, not a day, 3 walks a week that are over a mile long, and or at least a couple mile long runs where he's actually running. He does improve my mile time by a lot.
I bet.
It's real nice. I hate not running with him. So much harder.
Right.
So I think, we've ebbed and flowed with like kind of our routine around them. But it's been nice recently to get kind of back into a, a routine with Benny of just like making sure we go for walks. It's also really nice because we've met so many people in our neighborhood. We now have new friends that we didn't, without them and making us go for these walks, we don't interact with these people.
Well, yeah.
We're the millennials who like hear the door knock and we're like, shh, be quiet.
Yeah. It's usually somebody trying to sell me something.
Like,
Either Jesus or the internet.
yeah, that's true. You're like, I have the internet.
I have no need for Jesus. Thank you.
I believe in Santa Claus. It's fine. I don't know. I think like we do, you and I, and like our dog gang do a pretty good job of incorporating our dogs into our physical activities. Like I'm thinking of like when we would go for runs.
Yeah.
When we would go for hikes. Like I have video and picture evidence of Gracie scrambling up some very steep rocks in
She's a
Maine.
great rock scrambler.
She is. She's got little claws. The rocks.
Otherwise, we have harnesses with handles that hook her up.
Yeah, that's really nice.
I guess that's her life jacket.
Oh yeah, and they
Pull
have
her
life
around.
jackets. Like they went
Mhm.
paddleboarding, canoeing. Like they're really active little
Yeah.
creatures.
She loves it.
Yeah.
She's very much an adventure dog. She could just be feral in the wilderness. I think she'd be content.
Coyote.
It is until it starts raining, and then she wants to come inside
It's the rain that gets her.
and be swaddled in one of her dozen fleece blankets.
Like she is right now.
It's raining.
It's true. That's true.
All right. So obviously, as we've been talking about, dogs in particular require regular exercise, which means taking them for walks, playing with them, whatever. This can lead to increased physical activity for pet owners, helping us meet our daily exercise requirements. Regular walks and active playtime can help improve cardiovascular health, increase endurance, and maintain a healthy weight. That hasn't worked for me. My weight keeps climbing.
Well, you know,
It's fine.
weight is just gravity
just a
pushing you
number.
down.
It does matter. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about a couple of things and having adventure dogs. What physical activities do you incorporate your dog into?
So Benny definitely a lot of running. He's an inherently, and I think this is an important thing. Like if you have a dog or if you're thinking about getting a dog, trying to really look at your lifestyle and be like,
Mhm.
what are the things that I already enjoy doing and how can my dog really slot into that? Because different breeds have different things that they really enjoy. Benny is part husky. He loves to pull and he loves to run. It is
Mhm.
just an instinct. It is ingrained into him. I'm not having to teach him anything new.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, I have to teach him how to turn that off.
Right.
And so I think that that's really important because, you see a lot of dogs in the shelter and people are like, oh, they're too much energy or they, too much work and those kinds of things. And I'm like, you did a bad job of picking a dog.
Right.
Like, it's not the dog's fault. You selected a breed or a trait or a characteristic that didn't fit into your
Yeah.
normal kind of outlook.
You got it because it was cute instead of.
Exactly. You got somebody who's, a homebody. They love to read. They love to do, they don't do a lot of activity. And then you have a border collie.
Yeah.
Who's, by the way, they're so smart. And if you don't give them something to do, they will find something to do. So I think it's one of those things like we try and enhance the things that he's already good at. And it was the same thing for Riley.
Yeah.
Like she loved to be outside. She loved to investigate things. She was also a people pleaser. So like we did a lot of training with her.
Mhm.
If we had thought about getting her into agility early on, I think she would have been a good agility dog. But she wanted to please. She wanted to do like you could train her something within 3. I mean, like you asked her to do it 3 times and she got it.
Yeah.
We changed her down position, like the command and the hand signal for down, and she just like picked it up like that. So it was really doing that kind of stuff. Like she wanted to be out in nature, so she got to go out in nature. He wants to run, so we go for runs. We did a lot of canoeing. Riley loved to be on the water, not in the water.
Yes.
I think that's a crazy similar.
She doesn't like to be on the water either.
She got in the.
She did.
She did get in the water when we went to the. She doesn't like moving water.
She doesn't like moving water. She wants it to be still so that she can play in it.
Yeah, and it doesn't scare her.
Yeah.
Vane is moving, so she doesn't
Yes.
like that.
Yep.
So what things do you find yourself incorporating Gracie into?
I mean, she'll do pretty much anything. She's up for whatever adventure we go on. She's gone on, like we talked about, hikes. She loves to be out in nature and explore whatever we find or she finds. I've taken her on runs and she's good for 3/4 to a mile. Run. She's a small dog.
She is. She's got little
Small
legs.
She's part terrier, so she definitely has tiny little prey drive.
So the ball.
Which is adorable. So she loves her tennis ball. She loves chasing the tennis ball. She loves playing with her toys. It's so cute to watch her play with her toys because she'll like pounce on them and like shake them around and throw them. And it's very aggressive. Would not be cute if it was a real animal, but it's very cute when it's her sloth.
Yeah. It is very cute. I can second that.
It's adorable. Yeah. So that's, I mean,
Gracie used to come to the gym.
she used to come to the gym. She would, yeah, she would come to the gym with us and, have her spot out of the way and wait for us to do things. When it moved more outside because of COVID, she loved it.
Yeah.
I would let her just free range because there wasn't really anything for her to get into. It was partially fenced. Like I keep an eye on her. She loved it.
Yeah.
She got this outdoor time every day and there's grass for her to play in. And she got her tennis ball and she'd run up and down the driveway with us when we did runs.
I remember that. That was so cute.
It was adorable. Yeah. So she does all the things with me.
I love that. So one of the things about like incorporating your pet into your fitness, so a lot of pets, including dogs, have been shown to reduce stress levels and promote relaxation. So petting a dog can really trigger the release of oxytocin, a hormone associated with bonding and reduce stress. Lower
Love
stress
that.
levels can contribute to better mental and physical health outcomes. We've talked about this a lot.
Yes.
So what I take this to mean is do a really hard workout and then incorporate your dog in your recovery,
Yes.
right? Like
Go snuggle with your dog.
go snuggle with your dog. Like instead of like taking
Find somebody else's gym dog.
yeah, instead of taking a nice bath, they go snuggle with the dog.
I love that. It's important to have gym dogs.
It is I think it is. And I know there's people go either way because some people have allergies,
Yes.
those kinds of things. It's cleaning up hair and that kind of stuff. But
Fair.
I think for a lot of people, dogs can and cats can be that stress reducer. And
Yeah.
you just see them and you're like, oh, especially like a well-behaved, well-trained
Mhm.
dog who also enjoys doing the things that you're doing,
It's just like chilling.
just chilling. And I know, when we were in Maine, we had a lot of gym dogs. Gracie
Yeah.
was one of many.
She was. It was super fun.
And it was, yeah, and it was always fun because it also prompted, I think in the back of my mind, like, ooh, who am I going to see?
Yeah.
Not
What
just-
dogs do I get to see today?
Yeah, not just what people, but like, which of my dog friends are going to be at the gym today?
Right. And great. I mean, it was good for Gracie too. 'Cause she loved, like, she had her people at the gym that she loved to see.
Yeah,
And so we'd
good.
go to the gym and she'd go running in and like say hi to her people and they would have treats for her, of course. Same thing when we were working in office.
Mhm.
She loved going to the office because she got to see her people who had treats for her. And would come in and play with her
Yeah,
in the office as their break from work. And it was great. She was the office dog. Everyone loved it. It's good times.
it was good times.
Okay. So having, well, I guess not having any pet, 'cause all of them want to go outdoors, but having a dog specifically encourages folks to get outdoors.
And we love the vitamin D.
Dogs, need to be taken outside for the bathroom and exercise. This encourages their owners to spend time outdoors, getting fresh air and exposure to natural light, which we love, which can have those positive effects on mood and overall health for them as well as their dog. I guess this is true of any animal that you want to take outside or wants to take time outside.
And there's lots of ways that you can, like I know I follow a couple of Instagram influencers who they live in a van and you usually see like van dogs.
Yep.
They have a cat that they adopted and she's got like one of those cat tunnels that she can kind of like roll around outside and like when they're in like places that are not necessarily, have wildlife and things. And she has a harness too and like
Mhm.
does stuff. So yeah, you can get things outside that you normally with guinea pigs.
Yeah.
Rabbits,
Rabbits.
turtles. Be careful with the lizards; they might scurry away.
You need a tiny harness.
I want to see a tiny harness. Okay, so we're gonna shift a little bit because a lot of people during the pandemic got dogs.
Mm.
So during a survey in February of 2022, 14% of respondents in the United States reported acquiring a new pet. This is an increase of 4% compared to December 2020, when 10% of respondents reported getting a new pet. So we saw dog ownership definitely increase.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pandemic puppies, as we like to call them. So with that, yes, dogs are getting adopted. That's great. Was a big push for adopt, don't shop.
Mhm.
But there's been some major impacts on folks' lives over the last few years. And so some of it's been good, some of it not so good. So I don't know what are some of the pros and cons that you've seen. I've seen some just recently after losing Riley and those things. We've started to think about another dog for Benny
Mhm.
as a companion for us and him.
Right. Yeah.
But he gets a weigh in. He's earned that right.
Yeah.
And so some of the things that I've noticed in our kind of like new search and things is there's definitely a lot of certain types of breeds that we're seeing in shelters.
Oh. Okay.
So prior, I would say, like when we were thinking about getting Benny, we saw a lot of the like pit bull, hound,
Mhm.
those kinds of breeds. Recently, what I've seen a lot of are huskies,
Mm.
border collie mixes. Those two kind of struck me, and I was doing some research. And one of the reasons that we're seeing a lot of huskies is a lot of folks went out and got husky puppies and things after the finals of Game of Thrones.
Oh no.
Yeah, right. Because like huskies look like wolves.
Yeah.
And so now that those huskies have grown up 3 years later,
Mm-hmm.
these people have realized what they've gotten themselves into. Because if you've never owned a husky, let me tell you, it's a wild ride. And they're affectionately referred to as the cats of the dog world because they're very independent, they're very smart, and they don't feel like they need you.
That's fair.
And they will take themselves on like walkabouts if they're not being like fulfilled in all of their mental stimulation,
Mhm.
physical, all of that. Like they 100% think that they know better than the human.
Fair enough.
And if they realize they can do something, it is forever theirs.
Yeah.
Like if they realize they can get on your kitchen counter, they will. If they realize they can open a door, they will. Like I don't know if you've been on Instagram and seen like, the huskies like figuring out how to get through all the baby gates. There.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that has been something for me that's I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, this is a very specific breed. They're very beautiful dogs, but they have a lot of personality and it can be really hard to manage.
Yeah.
They also howl.
Yeah.
So they're very vocal. Like
Right.
they talk. And so if you live in an apartment, I would not recommend one because they will be screaming at you.
Yep. Yep. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about a specific breed having issues, but I could definitely see a lot of people like as the pandemic started and everyone was at home and not socializing, wanting to get a pet, especially folks that live alone, to have a companion. And then as the world starts opening up again, maybe it becomes harder to take care of that pet. You don't have as much time because now you have to go into the office, you're doing things with friends, you're whatever, traveling again. And now all of a sudden that pet is a burden. And I could see a lot more. I could see there being an increase of, you know, uh, relinquished. Is that
Yeah,
what's
surrendered.
surrendered? There we go.
Surrendered.
Surrendered pets at the shelters and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like that. What is it? What happens at Easter? Like the bunnies and the baby chicks that
Yeah.
influx at Easter.
Yeah. That's kind of what it seems like. And, we've been reading like some of the like why a lot of high energy. There's also a lot of, not enough time, people having to go back to the office
Mhm.
and also, birth of kids. So
Oof,
like
yeah.
people got dogs when they didn't have kids. And then now there's a kid in the mix
Ugh.
and what used to work for you, which is really sad.
Yeah.
One of the pros, and this is for a good friend. One of the pros that come out of this is there's a lot more dogs out there. There's a lot more dog trainers,
Mm.
and so we have a good friend who's a dog trainer, and she is definitely real busy.
Yeah. So
Um,
busy she could not come on the show this week.
yeah, it's okay. We don't
It's all right. We love her
don't
anyways.
we love her, and we totally understand. And I think that's a good thing, like more training of
Yeah.
dogs. Thinking back to owning like our family dogs, they didn't
Mhm.
have any formal training.
No. Oh God. No.
Like, no. And so like there's definitely so many more well-behaved dogs, and so many more dogs, because of being well-behaved, are out and about in the world. It's love going to a brewery, get some many good cute dogs that are well-behaved.
Gracie
So
is sometimes one of them.
was it sometimes?
She has a big personality.
Benny sometimes is one of them. He has
He's such a good boy.
he's a shy boy.
He's a sensitive boy.
He's a sensitive boy. But he does really well in those settings because he just sticks close to us. He's not phased by other dogs. So he's just like, sometimes he can get a little overstimulated, and then it's time to go home. Okay, so we're both dog owners.
Yes.
What tips and tricks do you think we can give our listeners for incorporating their dogs into their fitness routine, their life, all of the above?
So few that I thought of were to make sure if you are going to a gym or a public park, a public space, doing your research ahead of time, making sure that space is actually dog friendly so that you don't show up and they have to like sit in the car or something, or you have to turn around and go home.
Yeah, that would be sad.
Dogs need to hydrate and take time to rest, just like humans do. So keeping that in mind, making sure you have plenty of water available for them, whether you're at home or out in the publics, and providing time and space for them to rest after rigorous exercise.
I think people don't always realize that. They think like, oh, a tired dog is a good dog. And that, just like kind of like children, like they can get overstimulated and then they act out.
Yeah. Like I can absolutely tell when Gracie has not had enough rest.
Yeah.
And has been too active during the day.
Yeah. Like even adult dogs still need to sleep something like 12 hours.
Yeah.
Like
They need rest.
they need rest.
And the last one I thought of before you showed up was to keep an eye on outside temperatures. Sidewalks and pavement can get very hot for dogs' bare feet.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Or in Gracie's case, very cold.
Yeah. The doggy
She gets very
booties
cold.
are adorable. Whenever you see a dog in doggy booties, never not cute.
Gracie hated her booties.
We tried putting them on Benny and he just froze. And he's like, Mom, I don't need these to go out in the snow. I'm not husky.
Gracie was like, I absolutely need these and I hate it, which is why we left Maine.
Some people surrender their dogs. You pick up and move several states away for your dog. You're like, I need it to be warmer. I can't keep dressing her in multiple layers to go outside.
It took us 20 minutes to get geared up for the both of us to like go out in the middle of winter for her to potty. Usually in the middle of the street because the snowbanks were too high.
Oh, I remember that time.
It was awful.
Well, I like this episode because we just got to talk about dogs the whole time.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you, listener, for submitting this topic.
Right?
Do you have any other tips that I missed?
I think
I'm sure there's lots, but
my big tip is really instead of trying to revamp your whole life, if you're thinking about getting a dog or you currently have a dog and you're feeling like they're missing something, they need an outlet, think about things that you already do and things that fit their breed and what they enjoy doing.
Yeah.
If your dog is like a hound dog or a terrier and they like to sniff, a 15-minute sniff walk can be as tiring for them as a 30-minute like run walk, because they're actively having to engage their brain in that sniffing and they already enjoy doing it. So why not? So really just look at what your dog already enjoys and try and make sure that you're doing enough of that, and don't try and like force them into a box that isn't theirs. Like if your dog doesn't like to run, don't make them go on a run.
Yeah.
Just like a human.
Yeah.
That's my biggest tip.
I like that.
I think it makes things easier for everybody, and it's easier to incorporate that way.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's important to note that while owning a dog definitely has numerous health benefits, it also comes with responsibilities, including proper care, training, exercise, vet visits. Not all individuals are able to or interested in owning a dog, so it's essential to choose a pet that fits your lifestyle and your preferences. Additionally, the health benefits of pet ownership may vary from person to person, but overall, the companionship and care of a dog can contribute to a healthier and more fulfilling life for many people,
Us included.
us included.
That's a wrap
Woohoo!
on the month of October
Oh, yeah.
and our listener submitted topics. Thank you all for submitting your topics. It was really fun, and we
So
can't wait to do it again because they were all unique but tied in, and I think that's lots of fun. Don't let that stop you from sending us any topics that you find interesting.
Mhm.
Like just because we're not doing a listener submitted month doesn't mean that you can't be like, hey, I'd like to hear more about this.
We love having new ideas for topics.
We absolutely do. So make sure you're listening, following us, commenting and liking on Instagram posts, on the Spotify itself, and don't forget to share with your friends.
Share. Tell everyone.
Tell
Be
everyone.
obnoxious about it.
Yes. We'll send you something.
We could do that, yes.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. Well, on to next month.
Mhm.